Kuwait marked on Wednesday the 6th anniversary of the UN honoring of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Sabah as a humanitarian leader and Kuwait as an international humanitarian center. Though COVID-19 continues to infect people and claim lives, His Highness the Emir continued to lead and orchestrate Kuwaiti efforts to provide fellow humans with a helping hand. His Highness the Emir acknowledged the threat posed by COVID-19 pandemic and issued a decree on March 26, 2020, allocating a sum of 10 million Kuwaiti dinars to implement the National Anti-Coronavirus Emergency Program. On September 9, 2014, then Secretary General of the United Nations Ban Ki-moon held a special ceremony at the UN headquarters in New York to commemorate the Kuwaiti leadership and people commitment toward humanitarian causes. The Arab-led coalition fighting in Yemen said early on Wednesday it intercepted and destroyed an explosive-laden drone launched by Yemen's Houthis towards the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's southern area. The coalition spokesman Colonel Turki Maliki said the coalition's joint forces intercepted and destroyed on Wednesday morning an explosive-laden drone launched by the Houthi militia in a deliberate attempt to target civilian objects and civilians in the southern region of the kingdom. This comes after the coalition intercepted and destroyed an explosive-laden drone launched by the Houthis towards Saudi Arabia on Tuesday and another drone launched toward the kingdom on Sunday. A senior administration official told reporters that U.S. President Donald Trump will announce a further drawdown of U.S. troops from Iraq on Wednesday. The official said the announcement will be followed by another one in the coming days on a further reduction in U.S. forces in Afghanistan. The decision comes as President Trump, a Republican, faces blowback from a report that he allegedly made critical remarks about U.S. war debt. The U.S. leader is trailing Democratic rival Joe Biden in polls ahead of the November 3rd election. According to officials, Afghanistan's Vice President Amrullah Saleh sustained minor injuries Wednesday when his convoy was targeted in Kabul in an explosion that killed at least 10 people and wounded a dozen more. The Vice President said he had been traveling to his office when his convoy was attacked. The Taliban, who have pledged not to launch attacks in urban areas under a deal with the United States, denied responsibility. AstraZeneca pharmaceutical company on Wednesday said it has paused a late-stage trial of one of the leading COVID-19 vaccine candidates after an unexplained illness in a study participant. The company spokeswoman said the official standard review process was triggered and the company voluntarily paused vaccination to allow review of safety data by an independent committee. The study is testing COVID-19 vaccine being developed by AstraZeneca and University of Oxford researchers at various sites, including the United Kingdom, where the illness was reported. Data from the Federal Health Ministry showed India reported 89,706 new COVID-19 infections on Wednesday, taking its total caseload to 4.3 million. The South Asian nation has the highest number of coronavirus infections outside of the United States, reporting the largest single-day increases in cases every day for more than a month. Its death rate has remained relatively low, but it's starting to show signs of rising, with more than 1,000 deaths reported daily for 8 days straight. Firefighters on Wednesday fought to contain multiple fires at Greece's largest migrant camp located on the island of Lesbos. Thousands of residents fled from the camp but were stopped by police vehicles. Most were being guarded by police on a nearby highway. There were no reports of injuries or casualties. A Somali refugee residing in Moria tested positive for the novel coronavirus earlier this week, triggering a host of lockdown measures in a bid to contain the outbreak. At least 35 people at the camp had tested positive for COVID-19 as of Tuesday. According to a new analysis of global ecological threats, Rapid population growth, lack of access to food and water, and increased exposure to natural disasters mean more than 1 billion people face being displaced by 2050. Compiled by the Institute for Economics and Peace, the Ecological Threat Register uses data from the United Nations and other sources to assess 8 ecological threats and predict which countries and regions are most at risk. With the world's population forecast to rise to nearly 10 billion by 2050, intensifying the scramble for resources and fueling conflict, the research shows as many as 1.2 billion people living in vulnerable areas of sub-Saharan Africa, Central Asia, and the Middle East may be forced to migrate by 2050. Uncontrolled wildfires driven by high winds and unprecedented temperatures raged across the U.S. West on Wednesday, incinerating the Washington town of Malden and threatening communities in Oregon and California. Firefighters and emergency responders searched on Tuesday for residents of tiny Malden, about 480 kilometers east of Seattle, a day after a firestorm destroyed 80% of its homes, along with the fire station, post office, city hall, and library. Authorities in Malden went door to door, ordering evacuations before the blaze arrived. The fire engulfed most of the town over the course of about 3 hours. A stricken oil tanker of Sri Lanka that has been on fire since last week has left a kilometer-long slick across the Indian Ocean, the country's navy said on Wednesday, sparking fears of an environmental disaster. Sri Lanka's navy said there were no flames or smoke on Wednesday from the MT New Diamond, which is carrying 270,000 tons of crude oil and 1,700 tons of diesel. The blaze left a trail of diesel across the sea. The fire began last Thursday and was thought to have been completely doused on Saturday, but flared up again a day later. A U.S. envoy Wednesday said that he hoped to sign a framework agreement in the coming weeks for Lebanon and Israel to start discussing their disputed maritime border. Lebanon in 2018 signed its first contract to drill for oil and gas in its waters, including a block disputed by its southern neighbor Israel, with which it has fought several wars. The Israeli government in May 2019 said it had agreed to enter U.S.-mediated talks with Lebanon to resolve the maritime border dispute. New Zealand's governing Labour Party will introduce a new top tax rate if re-elected to help pay back mounting debt in the wake of COVID-19. On Wednesday, Finance Minister announced a new top rate of 39% tax for income earned over 180,000 New Zealand dollars as part of the party's long-awaited tax policy. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said the policy would rake in around $500 million a year. The new tax comes as New Zealand, like many advanced economies, racks up tens of billions of dollars of debt to insulate its economy against the COVID-19 pandemic. Organizers said on Wednesday China's International Aviation and Aerospace Exhibition, the country's biggest air show, scheduled for November, has been cancelled due to the coronavirus pandemic, and the next one will take place in 2022. The biennial event usually draws key suppliers such as Airbus SE, Boeing Company, and Commercial Aircraft Corp of China, and has traditionally been used by Beijing to show off its growing aviation capabilities such as military fighters and drones. The cancellation comes as foreign nationals are largely barred from entering China due to concerns about importing COVID-19 cases and as international flights have been severely restricted.